news and events COVID-19 on May 29, 2020. Note, this is a collaborative video made between channel Knowledge About Coronavirus and Travel for All fanpage. Please respectfully welcome everyone. Following is the general news related to the world and events COVID-19 as follows. 1. U.S. News. Economists at the University of Michigan say that while the COVID-19 acute respiratory tract epidemic will cause the U.S. unemployment rate to rise higher than during the Great Depression, the government's strong measures, federalism, and improvements in the public health picture will accelerate the recovery of the job market by the second half of 2020. The number of deaths due to COVID-19 in the U.S. has far exceeded 100,000. Enough numbers indicate the severity of the COVID-19 pandemic. The U.S. mortality rate is now 30 per 100,000, lower than Britain, France or Italy, but many times higher than Germany with 10/100,000 or South Korea with 0.52/100,000, according to Johns Hopkins University. Currently, 14 states in the U.S. report an increase in the number of cases, while 17 states remain stable and 19 states decrease. While the upper classes can comfortably enjoy the blockade time at home, many American civilians have a headache of losing their livelihoods. About 41 million people applied for unemployment benefits within 10 weeks. In recent weeks, when the COVID-19 hotspot is still concentrated in large cities and urban areas, a more intense debate about the speed of economic opening has erupted again. Experts have warned that the pandemic is not over and there are fears that the number of infections will increase as more states reopen. They say the risk of opening the door, the lack of vaccines, and the effective treatment of COVID-19 could cause the death toll in the U.S. to continue to rise. On May 26, White House advisor Larry Kudlow said President Donald Trump was annoyed with Beijing over the COVID-19 epidemic and other issues. At the time, Bloomberg reported that the Trump administration is currently considering a series of sanctions on Chinese officials, businesses, and financial institutions. The source said the Treasury could impose controls on transactions as well as freeze the assets of Chinese officials and businesses for enforcing new national security laws. This law will restrict the rights and freedoms of Hong Kong citizens. The death of an unarmed black man at the hands of a police officer sparked protests in the city of Minneapolis and other U.S. cities. 2. World News. The world has 5,963,044 people infected, 363,905 deaths. COVID-19, an acute respiratory infection caused by a new strain of coronavirus, was first detected in Wuhan City, Hubei Province, China in December 2019. Later, the disease spread to many provinces in China. To date, 215 countries/territories around the globe recorded cases, in which the United States is the country with the highest number of infected people. 3. Indian News. On May 29, the Indian Ministry of Health and Family Welfare announced that the number of cases of COVID-19 acute respiratory infection had increased to a record 7,467 new cases in the past 24 hours, bringing the total number of patients 165,799 people, including 4,706 deaths. The majority of Indian COVID-19 cases were concentrated in the states of Maharashtra, 59,546 cases, Tamil Nadu, 19,372, Delhi, 16,281, Gujarat, 15,562, and Rajasthan, 8,067. It is expected that after the blockade ends, the Indian authorities will still focus on the prevention of COVID-19 in 13 major cities, accounting for 70% of all cases of infection in the country, and the 5 worst affected states, while closely monitoring the 7 states with a large number of returning migrant workers. Some states in India have allowed resumption of private travel, limited public transport, reopening shops except shopping malls and shopping complexes and industrial parks. In recent years, the Indian government has resumed domestic flights. Many people believe that these measures are making the number of infections in India constantly increasing. 4. Malaysia News. In the past 24 hours, Malaysia recorded an additional 103 cases of COVID-19, mainly involving foreigners. Thus, up to now, the country recorded 7,732 cases of COVID-19, including 115 deaths. 5. Korean news. Meanwhile, in Korea, speaking at the regular press conference, Director of the Korea Food and Drug Administration, MFDS, Lee Yoo-kyun, said that the authorities were preparing to deliver the medicine. Remdesivir enters use in the treatment of COVID-19. Remdesivir, originally developed by the U.S. pharmaceutical firm Gilead Sciences to treat Ebola, has shown positive results in clinical trials on COVID-19 patients in the United States. Gilead Sciences is also the developer of Tamiflu, which treats influenza strains. Experiments show that remdesivir effectively inhibits the development of coronavirus in human body cells. Earlier, the National Institutes of Health (NIH) had published research results showing that using remdesivir can shorten the treatment time of COVID-19 patients from 15 days to 11 days. The mortality rate in the group taking the drug was 7%, while the group did not take the drug was 12%. The South Korean government said it was considering emergency licensing and special import promotion for the drug. In other words, although not licensed for use in Korea in the context of the disease, remdesivir will be produced, distributed and imported without prior notification. 6. Brazilian news. Brazil's Ministry of Economy says more than 1.1 million workers in the country have lost their jobs since the COVID-19 acute respiratory infection outbreak broke out in the South American country in early March 2020. Since the beginning of the year, nearly all industries in Brazil have reported negative results on the rate of job loss, the most severe of which is retail, transportation, services and industry. The only field with positive results is agriculture and animal husbandry, with over 10,000 new jobs created from January to April 2020. Brazil is currently the second largest COVID-19 outbreak in the world after the U.S. As of the morning of May 29, the country recorded 438,812 cases of COVID-19 infection, including 26,764 deaths. 7. Iran news. On May 29, Iran announced that it had recorded the highest number of SARS-CoV-2 virus infections in nearly 2 months, and warned that the disease situation in the Middle East country is worsening in some areas. Field. Iranian Ministry of Health spokesman Kayanash Jahanpur announced that the country had confirmed 2,819 new COVID-19 cases in the past 24 hours, bringing the total to 146,668. This is the highest figure in Iran by the day since 2/4. In addition, Iran recorded 50 new deaths, bringing the total number of COVID-19 deaths to 7,677. Earlier, the Iranian government lifted the blockade imposed after the first case was recorded in February. Due to the current, complicated disease situation, Iran has reimposed the blockade order in Khuzestan province border with Iraq. 8. News of Peru. In Peru, about 1/3 of the 10 million people in the country are facing a serious shortage of domestic water. In Venezuela, apart from lack of running water, people here also lack electricity and gasoline. In addition to the lack of sanitary and epidemiological conditions, the problem of maintaining livelihoods is also a big challenge for the epidemic prevention in the region. According to economist Delia Maiman, Latin America now has about 54% of informal workers. Slum dwellers are forced to choose between risking to work to earn a living or stay in an epidemic home. Worry about money, millions of people in Latin America lost their livelihoods as the economic crisis worsened due to blockade measures. 9. In Europe, an Italian health expert said that some localities may have faked the number of COVID-19 cases to avoid reimposing blockade orders. The above information has sparked public outrage in the context that Italy is preparing to reopen the economy. Speaking on Radio 24, Nino Cartavallata, head of the Fondazione Gimbe Medical Consulting Institute, said there was a good reason to suspect that some areas use tricks to prevent them from being blocked. Again, For the Lombardy region, Cartavalotta said that there were so many strange things about the data recorded over the past 3 months, including the number of people who were counted as cured when they were discharged even when they were still sick. According to Cartavalotta, the abnormal delay in the release of the data immediately after the emergency period has passed is also being recorded, while the testing work to detect cases of virus infection is narrowing, as if Lombardy was avoiding announcing new cases. The government of Lombardy immediately denied that the allegations were very serious and, above all, untrue. Meanwhile, government advisor and World Health Organization expert Walter Ricciardi said, there are real reasons to think that the figures are not reliable at some point. The expert said that it is too early to make a decision on whether to reopen these areas, especially in Lombardy, which currently has 20,000 people infected with SARS-CoV-2 virus and cases of illness but no symptoms. According to official figures, more than 33,000 people died from COVID-19 in Italy, of which the Lombardy region accounted for nearly 16,000. 10. Indonesia news. Indonesia's Ministry of Health announced that in the past 24 hours, the country recorded 678 more cases of COVID-19, bringing the number of people infected in the country to more than 25,000. According to the ministry, the COVID-19 pandemic has spread to all 34 provinces and cities of the country. Authorities conducted COVID-19 tests in affected areas and asked residents to wear masks to curb the spread of the disease. Currently, the Indonesian government is preparing a new normal state in which people are allowed to resume their daily activities. Up to now, Indonesia recorded 25,216 cases of COVID-19, including 1,520 deaths. 11. Leo News. Leo Health Minister Elmkang Siavon said the country had not 11. Leo News. Leo Health Minister Elmkang Siavon said the country had not detected new cases of COVID-19 for 47 days in a row. Among 19 positive cases and 16 had been cured. With the above results, the Leo government decided to loosen some more social restraint measures that have been applied in the prevention of COVID-19 in recent years. However, the government requires people not to neglect, to be caught off guard, to continue to strictly comply with epidemiological safety regulations and principles such as maintaining distance, regular hand washing, sanitation of places, work. Regarding the easing measures, the Leo government allowed the Ministry of Education and Sports to reopen senior secondary classes, training programs and short-term education from June 2 and allow all the school level has been fully reopened since June 15, allow organizing all types of sports but must not have an audience, allowing reopening of night markets, food and drink shops, liquor stores, beer not yet opened, cinemas. The Leo government also allows businesses, factories and projects to return to normal operation but must strictly follow the rules of epidemiological hygiene and social spacing. 12. Hong Kong News. On May 28, many nations responded to China's National Assembly's decision to pass a controversial national security bill to the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, which observers fear could threaten to special autonomy and freedom here. The joint statement of Britain, the United States, Canada and Australia states, China's decision to impose new national security laws on Hong Kong contradicts its international obligations in accordance with its binding principles. In the Anglo-China joint statement, this law will weaken the framework of one country, two regimes. Our newsletter is now over. Thank you for always watching and supporting our videos. Knowledge of Coronavirus, Channel and Travel for All fanpage respectfully, and see you in the next video.